Hi, I'm Denise, and it's great to have you back at Inside the Mind Meditations for Part 31, Stage 3. And a reminder, as always, to not operate heavy machinery or drive while meditating. And today I'd like to begin with a quote from Reflections of My Higher Self, authored by Joe Dana, in which he says, "The deeper truths of life aren't limited to the words of any one philosophy, nor are they limited to words at all. What is true living, fluid and free, and extends beyond the threads imparted upon us, which we try to capture and freeze into language." Again, Joe Dana from Reflections of My Higher Self. The link to his work is found in the notes below the podcast. So toward that end, we are all masters of our own destiny, but if we don't know how to arrive there, we are the master without a kingdom, or one which does not bring us much satisfaction at all. The kingdom we want is accessed through a very narrow opening that we find within ourselves. Yet if our egoic delusion is too great, we cannot pass through that opening. And thus we disperse negative energies so we don't hold on to them, so we might pass through the narrow gate, or as some call it, the eye of the needle. And we all begin this journey starting with monkey mind, move to witnessing mind, then motion mind, and eventually we arrive at mind stream, in which we have a conscious awareness of consciousness itself. So as we pass through this narrow gate, or attempt to, we must remember that next time we work on ourselves through meditation, that as with life, where we do not influence and are not influenced, as we have achieved once arriving at motion mind, that we must maintain this awareness and meditation and have no desire to return to anything we have seen or experienced before in our meditations, regardless of how beautiful it is. Or to have that expectation only blocks us. And it also manipulates us into a box where we stagnate. So we also must understand, as we deepen meditation and see the manifestation of our fears and all the karma we hold, which will eventually happen sooner or later. But when it does, we must let go of those illusions as well and realize that they are false, as is anything negative. Some experience extreme terror when seeing the hell in a vision that they've made for self and others. That's okay, and it's always okay to turn back away from it and not pass through it until one is able to cleanse it and themselves without fear, because fear only increases the energy, so we must become fearless. Fearlessness is the way to go when correcting and cleansing the hell from ourselves that we made. As we would do with anyone else, it is good to do this with compassion. And we also must realize if we're not ready for it, to move past it until you are enlightened enough to not be afraid of what you've done. And when you then give the compassion you wish you would have, instead of holding on to the mistake, and you're able to give that compassion to yourself and everyone involved, you will make it through it in a neutral position. So our hearts hold the key to everything. And when we are ready, we keep intentions set for the best for self, others, and the entire universe, so that we cannot wish illness on anyone else, much less ourselves. For now we truly realize that to do so, we wish the same upon not only ourselves, but the entire universe. So, of course, when dealing with the physical world, this means sometimes boundaries must be set and maintained. But like all things else, we must pass by those who need those boundaries. and we must let go and not carry their energy with us once we have set the boundary. And just as we have let go of all wrong within ourselves, we do so with others. The better we are with ourselves, the better we are with others. And most who adhere to the path are here because they've had a great challenge to overcome or have survived tremendous abuse. But survival and coping, they learned, wasn't enough, as survival does not always mean justice, just as rising above any circumstance doesn't mean justice either. Most of us have been taught to cope, but we also find that coping does not resolve anything. And if we advance far enough, we learn that coping is basically a powerless tool, which keeps us caught up in the cycle of bearing negative energies. Survival is only truly realized in finding the courage and the strength to become more than what was cast upon us, to be born again out of the ashes of our lives through things that we were not prepared properly to deal with. But once we collect those ashes and are prepared, we can rise like the phoenix. Yet on our journey, we are all faced with challenges. Only now we have become aware of them. And some say this is like a tempering of a fine sword, leaving people to believe they must accept some sort of punishment as a sacrifice while offering continual forgiveness until there is nothing left of them. And this is false. The mention of sacrifice and allowing injustices through continual forgiveness is false, because to build a strong sword, the sword must be heated, pounded, and turned with the process repeated at least 500 to 1,000 times or more. That one does this indicates change. Through learning to command self, when something repeats, we are able to shift something in the dynamic. In the beginning, it is slightly. Once the sword is finished, we can execute with command and skill, without harm to anyone, including self. And this is what tempering a fine sword means. So it's not about allowing self to be exploited with continual abuse forgiven while allowing people to harm others. It's about becoming stronger and commanding ourselves better with each tempering, with each effort to grow within that makes us stronger. Not the pounding, but what we do personally. How we correct those flaws in ourselves as we would any sword we are building. If we become too strong in our resistance, we break. But if we stay pliable and continue to learn, we strengthen through grace. Thus, warmth and passion are required in building ourselves. And we all go through this. We are given many tools to move forward and out of insanity. The words that pulled me forward came from many great teachers, but one in particular who said, "You will never be ugly enough to make someone else beautiful, poor enough to make them rich, wretched enough to make them strong, weak enough to make them powerful, dumb enough to make them intelligent," and so on. To consider others at the demise of your own uniqueness is to disappear. Snuffing out one's own light never made another's shine. You are here for a purpose. Hold fast to it. Rise and be strong. It is said, in our weakness, our strength is found. Our lowest points have the ability to rise as equally as high, just as we can fall as far as we have risen. And we rise and fall many times on our journey. When we are broken and trodden upon, and our lives are left to soot and ember, we have the ability to collect our ashes and rise through the flames of destruction to resurrect our souls in a new perfection. And though we may have ideas of how this will be, if we have no expectations, we can be born again into a truth far greater than we ever imagined. And once we begin to arrive in this new life, we begin to understand that anything which comes to us cannot truly harm us unless we allow it to. And as we view our trials, we realize given the right instruments to command ourselves, we can grow. However, many are mistaken and instead teach that we must accept everything which comes to us, regardless of its nature. They say the more we are abused, the better we will be. And that is not true. Only command of self can make us better in all things. Command of self is like a sword that is tempered by the flame. If shown the way, we can become stronger through the warmth of our hearts. The way is within, as many truly great masters before us have shown us. The body is the temple through which we rise, the breath, the ether, which feeds our life and allows us to command the heart, for the heart is the temple of the soul. Most are dilapidated, while few blossom with life. And this is because of the abuse that we surround and accept in our lives. Thus it is said, let the dead bury the dead, and the living keep on living. But the only way to live is to let the old-fashioned structures fall away. Some might say physical death is the only way that we can be reborn into eternal life. But the truth is, we do that through the Trinity of self, mind, body, and spirit. We can move lower or we can move higher. We choose life or death through ourselves, and every choice or action we make draws us closer to one or the other. And on this journey, a teacher, just as a student, must be willing to be called a hypocrite by those of limited knowledge, and also those who prefer their righteous flocks, and those who expect the teacher or the student to be everything they are not, equivocally. And in that way, we begin to know the value of no expectations. For if we adhere to the expectations of the confused, the student, like the teacher, becomes a master who is not allowed to further learn because he or she may dash their foot upon a stone and thus have the masses scorn them. So many teachers and students become false to please those who cannot see the truth. In doing so, nothing is learned. And toward that end, it is better to be neither teacher or student, but rather the fool who shares what he gains, like the homeless person who feeds the poor, as the rich man walks by, because they know what it is to be deprived and rise above it themselves. Through the action of compassion alone, with no expectation but only gratitude, we are all freed rather than confined by chains to a lie that was never meant to be told, as truth for one man cannot be truth for another. But we can all rise above ourselves and meet on a common ground with one not better than the other, but all equal parts of the whole. Without contrast in the physical world, one does not know beauty without ugliness, wealth without poverty, and so on. But still the truth is veiled by illusions created out of our judgments. When we judge and condemn another, we judge and condemn ourselves. And to this end, we must look deeply within, find the energies we don't wish to hold, and after balancing the body, disperse those energies, just as we do our thoughts and emotions which do not serve us. When the vessel is empty, we can fill it again with something else. Through emptying and filling in this way, we work on the first three bodies through the Trinity of self to build spirit. Without spirit, also known as soul, we are already dead, as we have not yet been born, but only given an opportunity to choose life or death. And toward this end, we must look deeply within and find the energies we don't wish to hold, and after balancing the body, disperse those energies, just as we do our thoughts and emotions, which do not serve us in health. And when the vessel is empty, we can fill it again with something else. And many times we speak of soul levels as though one is born with them and cannot change anything about them. But truthfully, soul levels are things we construct or destruct. The choice is ours, and that is why we meditate. Okay, so let's begin our meditation. And as always, we'll begin by activating our chi by lying down on our backs and rubbing the palms of our hands together at the same time that we rub the soles of our feet together, creating enough heat through friction to activate all 2,000 nerve endings throughout the entire body. And having done that, please sit with the spine straight and move into prayer pose with 5 pounds of pressure as you press your palms of your hands together, and another 5 as you press the sides of the thumbs into the breastbone, fingers angled out away from the body at 60 degrees. And now activate the thyroid by closing the eyes 9/10 of the way and staring at the tip of your nose, again crossing your eyes. And we will tune in with the divine wisdom. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. And now, while still in prayer pose and while still activating the thyroid, set your intention through great, sincere feeling from the heart. And as you set your intention, I want you to feel all the love you have in your heart for those you ask for and also for yourself. And then begin with, I ask whatever it is for myself and for whomever else, and also for the entire universe. And then feel your intention deeply within your heart. And it's also a good idea for those offering their intention to a higher power to conclude with, I thank you and I love you. Regardless, continue to hold great gratitude in your heart as you set your intention. And while still staying in prayer pose and while keeping the thyroid activated, let's conclude with the protection prayer, which is always wise as we further meditation. Akredme, Chakredme, Sakredme, Siri Devay Nameh. Akredme, Chakredme, Sakredme, Siri Devay Nameh. Agreme, Chakreme, Sakreme, Siri Devay, Nameh. And now, while still holding the feeling of great gratitude in your heart, allowing your heart chakra to open, please lie flat on your back with your spine straight, hands beside your hips, palms up, and allow your eyes to rest comfortably as you settle in and make any last-minute adjustments for physical comfort. And notice your surroundings and the objects within the room. And now any sounds. And once settled, observe, does the body feel heavy or light, tense or at ease? And allow your mind to wander, observing your thoughts and feelings without judgment, while remaining aware of the body. And if you haven't already, softly close your eyes and feel your body as a whole. Feel the weight of the body as it sinks onto the surface you are lying on, observing the points of contact for the head, shoulders, back, hips, arms and hands, legs and feet. And feel your body settle in comfortably and focus on the breath, becoming aware of its normal state. Now begin deep circular breathing at 100% capacity for 10 breaths, with each inhale counting as 1 and each exhale counting as 2, and so on until you reach 10. Then begin again. Inhale through the nose, filling the entire stomach, and then expand the breath into the chest, counting the inhale as 1 breath. And exhale through the mouth, allowing the body to collapse as the breath leaves the body as the second breath, and so on until you reach 10. And as you do this breath work, try to keep the inhale equal to the exhale. And with the next breath, allow your breath to return to normal, and place your hands comfortably on the pelvis with your palms resting flat, while the tips of your forefingers barely touch, and also your thumbs touch tips without any effort or the slightest tension. and hold this mudra over your root chakra. Close your eyes and look up and out through the third eye, activating the pituitary gland by crossing the eyes as you look out into the distance. Allow the body to breathe naturally while remaining aware of the body and breath, but comfortably retaining focus on the third eye. And if there is too much tension on the eyes as you cross them and look out slightly more into the distance. And again, observe your thoughts as they come and go, noting pleasant, not pleasant, or neutral. And if the thought persists, label it with one word and return to the focus on the breath. And notice the feelings these thoughts create in the body. And as you notice how these thoughts and feelings feel in the body, become aware to the places they are attached to. And as you notice where the energy these thoughts and feelings are attached to within the body, notice the areas of the body that are in complete comfort and not attached to any thought, feeling, or emotion. And moving to 70% breath capacity, let's begin internal breathing. With your eyes softly closed, place the tip of your tongue on the roof of your mouth at the hard palate, located right behind the teeth in a very relaxed manner, and relax all the muscles in your face. And starting with at least 2 breaths for each stage of awareness, begin by feeling the breath as though it moves through a tube through the center of the body, but starting by becoming aware of the first stage. And the first stage of the breath is as it is, as the breath moves from the tip of the nose, over the nose hairs, and through the nose, and then as the breath passes out again through the nose. Becoming progressively aware of the breath in stages, follow the breath from the tip of your nose to the back of the throat, and then out again. And now follow the breath from the tip of the nose to the back of the throat and into the lungs without expanding the chest, and keeping the breath at 70%. And following the same pattern from the nose to the throat to the lungs, follow the breath now into the solar plexus. And this time, follow the breath from the tip of the nose, through the nose, to the back of the throat, the lungs, solar plexus, and into the navel, and again out through the nose. And following the breath from the tip of the nose, throat, lungs, solar plexus, navel, follow the breath now into the second chakra, located between the navel and the crest of the pelvis. And continue breathing in and out with the tip of the tongue on the hard palate, face relaxed, inhaling through the nose at 70% and following the breath to the body, to the second chakra, and then exhale again through the nose at 70%. And do this for 10 breaths, with each inhale and exhale counting as one full breath. And when you have reached 10 breaths, begin again. And keeping the inhale equal to the exhale and staying relaxed with the tongue in position, begin tri-breath at 70%, with each 3 breaths counting as one. Count inhale, exhale, inhale as the first breath, and exhale, inhale, exhale as the second breath, and so on until you reach 10, and then begin again. However, if you lose count with tri-breath, begin again at 1. And now move to quad breath, or 4 breaths as 1, and continue at 70% capacity, with each set of 2 inhales and exhales counting as 1, then the next set as 2, so it is like inhale, exhale, as first breath, and the same for the second breath, and so on until you reach 10, and then begin again. And if you lose count, start again at 1. And keeping the face and body relaxed with the tip of the tongue on the hard palate. Now move to 5 breaths, or 5 breaths is one, and continue at 70% capacity with inhale, exhale as first breath, and exhale, exhale, a second breath, and so on until you reach 10. Odd numbers begin and end with inhale, while even numbers begin and end with exhale. If you lose count, begin again at 1 until you reach 10. And once you reach 10, begin again. And now let's do 6 breaths as one, for 3 sets of full breaths as an inhale and exhale as one full breath, as one breath. So it's inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale as one breath. And so on until you reach 10. And if you lose count, then begin again at 1. And if you finish, start again. And now let's do 7 breaths as one. For 3 sets of inhales and exhales plus 1 inhale as the first breath. And 3 sets of exhales and inhales plus 1 exhale as the second breath. Even numbers beginning on inhales and ending on exhales, odd numbers beginning and ending on exhales. Then return to the soft breath where there is no gap between the inhale and exhale, but no effort to maintain any capacity. And now turn the attention to the body, and while keeping the spine and head straight, let the points that want attention guide you. Notice areas of discomfort as you feel the body from deeply within as a whole. If there are no areas of discomfort, simply stay focused on the feeling from the core of your body as your breath moves in and out until you can feel the body's energy filled. And do not worry if you cannot feel this energy at this point. It will come when all blocks are removed. However, if you notice the areas of discomfort in the body, realize they are just frozen energy manifesting in form within. And focus on these areas through deep feeling. Do not visualize them, simply feel them. And as you feel the areas of discomfort, stay focused on the areas until they melt from the outside in, as ice does when it melts and turns to water. And as you feel the frozen energies turn to water, if they are on the bottom side of the body, allow yourself to feel the water become warm and drip away from the body fully 2 feet out. Don't visualize it, feel it. 2 feet out so it can dissipate. And if the frozen areas are on the top of the body, allow yourself to feel them melt, heat, begin to sizzle, boil, Turn to steam and rise away from the body, again 2 feet out. Stay focused on the feeling as the drips or steam move 2 feet out and away from the body where it can dissipate. If one area calls for attention most, give it your attention and then move to each area that calls next. And if there are no areas of physical tension within the body, then allow that to happen with any negative thoughts or feelings you hold as well. Feel where they are attached to in the body and allow them to melt as ice would from the outside in. Turn to water, sizzle, boil. Turn to steam, dissipate, and leave the body. Or if on the bottom side of the body, turn to water, warm, and drift away from the body. Feel it. Do not visualize it. And as you work, become aware of the balance of the third eye, breath, and body, and allow frozen energies to disperse, or for your energy field to fully expand. Make sure the head is straight and not turned slightly to one side or the other. And by now you may be feeling the body is especially light and energetic and open as a lotus flower opens to nourish itself in the sun. Although this is a good thing to remain open while in this energy and while in deep meditation, as we return to active living or dream life, it is better to shield ourselves. Therefore, as we conclude meditation, I want you to feel the lotus close around you to protect you from the peripheral energies of the world, so that you are as protected as a child in the mother's womb. And please get back into the body now by feeling your points of contact. Become aware of your hands and fingers, feet and toes, arms and legs, torso, shoulders, neck and head. Become aware of the sounds around you. Open your eyes and view your surroundings and the objects within the room. And after giving deep gratitude for the day, tomorrow, and all week long, while holding the feeling of joy in your heart, you may rise or go to sleep when you are ready. If you wish to rise, turn your head or your body to the left. And if you wish to sleep, turn your head or body to the right. And remember your parameta meditation and active living. Get into the body and then your space before rising. Be aware of challenging situations before you move into them. Be aware of self in all things, mind, body, and emotions. Practice parameta on both challenging people and those you love and also with yourself. And now, when you are eating something, remember as you observe yourself and others without judgment to recognize thoughts or feelings, pleasant, not pleasant, or neutral. Label reoccurring thoughts with one word and know that they are a shared or unique experience. And when you are aware you are not neutral, measure how far away you are, away in either positive or not positive space, while continually remaining aware of the neutral space, where it is within. At the end of the day, do a quick overview to see how well you did. So it's great to have you with us again. Your comments are always appreciated. Please check out our suggested links and like our Facebook page, which we've left a link for you in. So good night or good day, and we will see you again soon.